There we are. We're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Episode Uno number 1 of 2022. So Brian here, and of course, I'm joined with my co-host Daniel.
Daniel Payton, international best-selling author. At least, I hope. So.
Yes. Yes. I've noticed that we're kind of down some signs behind you. Before you used to have the whole.
I'm still putting all my stuff back together because I have had several actual events since we were last on here.
Yep.
And I'm planning some coming up, but I just got behind. Plus, I'm wanting to make some new ones because I like this one. This dragon one's great. But my other ones, I want to get some ones for. I have a lot of new books out, and I'd like to get some new signage put together that's more comprehensive.
There you go. I still need a sign. I would like a sign, something up here that can stand over in the corner or something, Mm-hmm. Like I said, I work at Staples, and so I should have something. Oh, my Lord, I've lost him. What happened? Uh-oh, hold on, folks. Whoa. Daniel, where did you go? Hello to everyone just joining. We got my sister here. I got my aunt here. Jim Sadler, hello. Long time no see. There he is. Woo! I'm like, where'd he go?
Cut out.
Where did he go? I'm like, hold on, people. He'll be right back. Yeah, I'm just saying hello to people. We got my sister here. My aunt is with us. Jim Sadler, like he says, long time no see. Welcome. What did he write? I'm sorry. He used his dragon wand. Yes. Up and out. Yeah. We're just waiting for more people to come back on. But anyways, what were we talking about? Oh, signs. Yeah. So anyways, I still need one. I think I'm going to order one and get one made for our show or whatever. So yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So I have not spoken to you in quite a while, since last year, obviously. So how was your Christmas?
Christmas was incredibly busy. I've got an echo going here for some reason. There it goes. Okay. Christmas was incredibly busy for me. This year, for some reason, I just good. I had lots of stuff going on. I had people planning events. I was planning events in a 2-week period. 2.5-week period. I had 7 Christmas parties I was either attending or throwing. And so I had Christmas coming out of everything. And the funny thing is it all came to an end the Saturday before Christmas. So the week of Christmas, everything calmed down, and I was just, settled. So nothing really big for Christmas itself. It was all before Christmas. I had tons of stuff. And it was fun. I got to see a lot of friends and stuff. Unfortunately, my family is spread out across this country, seriously spread out. So we don't really do lots of big get-togethers for the holidays. And especially since my brother, he works with Verizon, so he's always busy there. So we don't really do a holiday with the family. We'll do that outside of the holiday season when people can get time off and whatnot. So mine was more local. I had all my friends here we were doing stuff with. And both Thanksgiving and Christmas, because we didn't have family we were around this year, we're up here in Michigan, we had an open house policy. I made a big Thanksgiving dinner and I made a big Christmas dinner. And if anybody couldn't go home or didn't have family they were going to, they could drop over here for a little while, have something to eat. We'd play game, talk, whatever. Yeah. So we had our own, way for people to celebrate those. Thanksgiving, we had more people take us up on that one. We had a full house for that. For Christmas, I don't think anybody came over, but that's okay. People had places to go and people to see, which is great. So other than that, I didn't really for Christmas. This year I got a lot of wands for Christmas. I'll show you in just a second. Okay. Being a fantasy author, I end up getting wands given to me, and 2 of them are from Winter Wizard. Somebody and they're handmade. 2 of them are. This one, someone made that one for me. The Winter Wizard. Yeah, and then this one's actually wood, hand carved and painted, and it's a resin epoxy. So it's kind of glittery and pretty on one end, but the glitter is under the epoxy, so it does not come off. You can't rub.
Oh, good. Ooh,
So
I
I
don't
like.
like glitter. I don't like
So
glitter.
me neither. As us in the crafting world say, glitter is the herpes of crafting. Once you have glitter, it never goes away.
Absolutely, yes.
So these, and then this one's a resin. This one's some made somewhere, but it's a dragon wand.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's a dragon wand. So I got wands for as gifts from people this year, which is cool. I think it's neat. People recognize I do fantasy and write books and stuff that are like that. So hey, that's what I got.
There you go. Yeah, that works. Yeah. Jim Sadler. Christmas. I ate dinner with my neighbor and read the end of your Star Trek book.
Yeah, Jim was one of the few people who who had ordered a copy of my Star Trek novel, the one that I it's fan fiction. I read it live on my show a year or so ago, and then I had copies made that I could get printed up. If people want a copy, you can get one. You just ask me, pay for it. I can get them printed and give to you. I actually got permission from Paramount CBS to produce this book on a one-on-one basis. So if you want a copy, I can have one made and give it to you. You just pay out shipping and the production cost. I cannot produce a whole bunch and go out and sell them on the market. That right. Violates copyright. But they gave me the right to at least make them for friends and family and anybody else who wants one on a small time. If I end up making like 5,000-6,000 copies, then they might get a little annoyed with me, and I don't want to do that. So, but Jim was one who asked for a copy of that book, and yeah. I hope he enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And Brian's in this one.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah. I almost forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah, I did forget about that. Yeah. So, I'm super excited. So, I myself, I've mentioned this before, on countless shows that, a friend of mine, old coworker of mine, we were writing a book together, and it was a murder mystery. She entered the challenge the same time you did, if you recall. But this was back in 2014 when I first started the show. I think I came up with this writing challenge. I think it was 2014. Was it?
Yeah, 14 or 15, somewhere in there. In that area.
I met you. I talked with you. I interviewed you in 2014. That's when I had you on the show.
Yeah.
So that's roughly, I don't know, or maybe it was the next year. I'm not sure. But anyways, it's been this long process. Writing sometimes takes time. It's a process. So, and I never fully quite grasp it because I don't write anything. I'm not an author. So I have no clue, and I usually kind of stayed away from that. However, powers to be kind of brought my old friend and coworker back together with me. So we're once again collaborating. I'm proud to announce that, we're up to chapter 14. Chapter 14. So after 6 years? We're up to chapter 14. I told her that, 15 technically was the goal. I said, let's just get to chapter 15 because, I think that'll be a good solid base for at least book 1. I already have plans on writing book 2. I wrote and I have done the editing process. I have, it's a learning curve, let me tell you.
Oh, it is.
So I'm editing the book as we're going. I even wrote a chapter myself. I wrote a chapter, and let me tell you, I am very proud of myself. I had to call a couple of people to pat myself on the back because she has inspired me to write the story. And I feel like if I'm going to be in the story, I might as well just help and write this story and move it along. How hard is it going to be? Really? I'm already editing the book and I'm adding words and changing sentences to make more sense as I'm reading it to myself. And I'm like, I might as well just write. So I told her, I said, you know what? I'm going to write chapter whatever. So, Jim, I think everyone will enjoy this book. Like I said, it's a murder mystery. I'm writing it. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. So, and now I have the inspiration to write book 2.
Mm-hmm.
I already know where book 2 is going. It's all in my head. I've lost him again. He has vanished. Poof. Oh, Lord. This, Dan, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here.
It says my internet's cutting out, but my internet's strong and fine. I don't know. I got an old computer
Yeah.
here. I probably need to put it out in pasture.
I don't know. I don't know. But anyways, all right. So I was just saying, I'm very excited. I'm very happy about it. You know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a load of fun, especially writing your first story. And something I tell people is that never begin writing with the idea of publishing. Write with the idea of telling a story.
Right. Yeah.
And so and then that can stump a lot of new authors. They, I need to follow the market. I need to do this. I got to change that because this. I'm like, no. Write your story first, and then think about publishing. So that and once you do that, once I go, it is fun. It's so much fun sitting down and writing.
I have to say that, like I said, I have a new appreciation for writers because I'm now finding the fun in writing a story because, like I said, there's 15 chapters, and I've now found myself going back to chapter 1 and changing things and moving things around and adding lots of dialogue and then shortening dialogue and then just it's fun. It's fun because it's constantly ideas pop in your head, and I have a notepad that's just full of notes and ideas. It's crazy. It really is crazy. I don't know how authors do it. I don't even know how I did it, but I loved it. I really did. It was fun.
Have you seen the movie The Man Who Invented Christmas? It came out in 2018, I believe, or 19. It's about Charles Dickens writing A Christmas Carol.
Oh yes, I did see that story. Oh yeah, I did like that. Oh yeah,
that's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah,
because it captures beautifully what writers mentally go through and physically go through in the creation process of writing a book, especially when you're on a deadline, when you are focused and you want to get it done by a certain time, and the world just seems to be against you at every corner of, and it's not on purpose. So no one's saying they're going, I got to stop him from writing this book. It's just that people don't understand that when you're in the throes of writing something, you don't want to be interrupted by anything, and people don't grasp that. They don't understand what that really means. This movie captures it beautifully. So I always recommend it to people, especially non-authors, to watch it, because then you get a glimpse of what it's like from an author's perspective when you're trying to create something on the fly, when you're trying to craft and generate ideas. And of course the movie does document in a fictional way the what happened when Charles Dickens wrote A Christmas Carol. There's a lot of truth in that movie about how he created that book. So
I love the movie. I can see how you use that to reference. Because it's not what I'm going through yet. I don't see them around me just yet, but they're in my head. But the thing is that they were not even my creation. They were her creation. So, I mean, we gave them names and she gave them character. They're a person. So, and it's funny because she gives them detail to the point where you technically can visualize what the person is, what they look like. Mm-hmm. So, and that's what I really enjoyed about this book, because it's detailed. So you really kind of know what's going on, who's around or what they look like, or, what the house looks like, or what the main street looks like, or, whatever. So it's, it's a process, but no, the people are in my head. So And
Yeah,
then
I don't see him in reality. I'm not quite that.
Yeah, no, I'm not there yet. Thank God.
Not that
Thank
crazy.
God. Yeah, I think that would be a little too much. I think that's why I'm smart. I step away, and then I go back to it, and then I'll step away. But then if I can't get to it, that's when I have to have some sort of notepad or piece of paper I can write it down, or use my cell phone, take a note, a voice recording or something. Remember to add this, or and now I'm doing what you've done by adding people that into the story. And I added my manager into the book.
Mm-hmm.
So he is my person that ties my character and another character together. So it's beautiful. What's this? Guilty of annoying Dan when he's writing. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dan wants to know Jim wants to know when is ELS Part 2 and is Flegel in it?
Earth's Last Starship, the sequel, the Part 2, is in the hands of my publisher, but my publisher that has it is Cosby, and right now they are currently working on launching their comic book line, which I actually have a comic book coming out through that. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of put a stopper in the moving forward with several of the books. However, that's going to come to an end soon. The production of those comics is very close to being done. So I expect ELS 2, I'm hoping, by the end of this year. Is Flegel in it? Yes. As a main character, I'm trying to remember if I wrote him in as a main character, but I think he's a cameo, because in this one, I'm pretty much dealing with the characters that already existed in the story. But I'd have to go back and look. Honestly, it's been so long since I worked on that one that I can't remember exactly who I put in it and who I didn't. Because I had big plans of several people I knew and several characters that people had created that they wanted in the story to use that story to be the vehicle to put them in. However, I didn't. There were some of them that didn't make it simply because I didn't want to overburden the story with too much extra stuff while I'm trying to make the plot work. So I think Flegel, though, does make it into the story. I'm pretty sure he is.
Flegel.
I'm sorry. Yes, Flegel is definitely in the story. Flegel. I'm spoiling a very, very little bit here, because if you remember Earth's Last Starship, the main alien race they meet, the positive one, are the Hakashans, the ones that are Fangs people, the cats, the big cats. Flegel, Jim's character, is a dog creature person, and so he always kind of identified with similarities of the big cat people, but he's not a big cat character. So I created another race it's got a history between them and Fangs people and all, but they're dog people, and Flegel is part of is an ambassador, is a person and responsible with that race. So yes, I do remember now, he is in the story. But that's as far as I'm going to take it, because this story was interesting to write Earth's Last Starship too. Because I had no intention of writing a sequel to Earth's Last Starship when I wrote it. It was originally written as a challenge for Brian. So
I wasn't expecting I was not expecting a second one. We joked about it, and I'd say things here and there, but I didn't think, he was too busy working on all that other thing. So, but I'm glad it did. I would fit well. You tend to have feline and dog races in your books. Yeah.
Yep. So yes, I did. So yes, Flegel's in there. I now that I think back to it, I remember he's in there. But you'll have to wait till the book comes out to find out in what capacity. And and this is something that I have met authors, and I feel so much better myself because I felt dumb for a long time. People would ask me about a book I've written or something that was in production, and I'd be like, and I couldn't remember details.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I've written so many different things in this time period, they're asking me questions, and as you probably know now, when you're writing on a story or a book, there's this whole scene you write and this characters you add. Then, well, actually, that doesn't work at all. It's not working. So I've got to change this. These characters get X'd out, and the story changes. But you remember both sides of that. So when somebody says, "Did you do this?" Your brain's going, "Yeah, you did," but then you're like, "Oh wait, no, I edited that out already. I didn't leave it in." So that plus, was it this book or that book or this story or that story? So, but I've met other authors who write a lot, and they have the same issue that somebody says, "Give me a specific detail about this one book you wrote," and you've got like 7 books behind you. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't remember.
Well, I don't have that problem at the moment. Maybe I see myself writing many books. I was going to ask you a question. What the hell was I going to ask you? So here's the thing. You got her writing the story. She started the story. So the first 6 chapters, that's all her. That's her. And then she kept going. And then when chapter 10, which is now chapter 11, I kind of moved them up a number now because we have so much written. It's me writing. So I'm worried that when people go and they read the book, they might be able to tell the difference between who's writing what in the book. I don't think you had. I mean, obviously, I don't think you've ever done this before, because you're the author by yourself. So, but I mean, should I be worried about that? Like I think that's why I find myself going back through and kind of adding and changing just a little bit so it flows all the way through the story, even though it's still her writing. I'm just, maybe, is that the right approach? I think that's what
honestly, I've never done a co-author situation that was this intense. I've helped people write stuff before, but not quite like what you're doing. I started a few things, and then the other author backed out simply for time. They couldn't keep up with it. So I had stories I was going to work on that never got finished because of that. So I can't say. My only advice is going to be that don't fret too much about it. You should read what's been written, work on it, and understand the characters. If you can understand the characters, then you can keep writing that character from your perspective. So, but when you get to the editing process, when you actually have an editor, another person that you're paying to step up and do this, they should, if they're good, see the differences that are standing out. Minor differences aren't going to stand out. You will notice them because you recognize your style versus their style. People aren't going to. But if there are stark things that you go from this character being stodgy and this way, all of a sudden now they're loose and comical, and you're like, that's the character has changed for no reason. Their personality's changed. An editor will pick up on that. They'll say, I don't think he would say this here. I don't think she would go there, and so that's when you can, those notes will help you work together. And that at that point, you and the other author will need to sit down with this and go, okay, this is the note on this. How should we proceed? If the character is the one that she created, you look at her and say, okay, what do you think? Would this person really say this, do this? How would they do it? Other side of it, if you created the character or did the bulk of the writing for them, then you should be the one to say, well, yeah, he would do that. Or no, you're right, he wouldn't do that. So, and editors will help you with that. So the thing is don't let worry cloud your writing, right? I mean, every big-time authors, from Stephen King to Pratchett, big authors will say this: your first draft is a load of garbage. I don't care who you are. I don't care how many books you've written. I don't care how good you think you are. You may be the biggest best-selling author in history. Your first draft is going to be garbage, and expect it to be. It's when you edit, rewrite, go back. That's when you will catch it when you're doing your run-throughs. And I always recommend that authors go through the first run-through, read-through of it, because you're going to pick up stuff you've missed and all that. When you read through, you're going to read through, go, oh, that's right. They had a bow in her hair the whole time. It was a big deal here. I forgot to write that over here. You're going to catch this. Or you should begin to catch it. I am. Yeah. So again, don't let worry cloud the writing. keep writing forward, not backward. Just keep the story going. And when you get done is when you go back to the beginning and go, let's look at this from the beginning and grind through this garbage until you've taken out some of the trash.
Yeah. Jim Sadler, you said it there, sir. That's true. That is true. Yes. Yeah. And I'm like, it is going to be self-published. That's what we're going to do. So for now, for at least the first one anyways, I think, it's just easier. We've done it before.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Oh, everyone agrees. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and I have continued writing. I don't sit there and kind of worry about everything. I catch myself and I'll be like, oh, I need to keep going. So I'll go scroll down all the way down to the end and I'll pick up where I left off and just keep writing for a little while. And then, but every now and then I'll kind of scroll back up and just to see, but I think we're okay. Like you said, keep writing. Jim said, who's going to know the difference, really? You're just reading a story or whatnot. So, but I came up with this idea because I've now become a fan of serial books.
Mm-hmm.
So the chapters just keep going and going and going. So like the one that I'm listening to, she just came out with chapter 122. So it's the story that just keeps going. So every week she's got this new episode. And I'm like, I could do something like that. Instead of writing book 2, I could just do like a serial podcast where she reads a chapter each week. That's what she does. So, and I think it's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, there's in embroidery, there's a philosophy that I bring to writing, and it's called one more stitch.
Yeah.
Or just one stitch. And that's literally when people look at, like this behind me, this is embroidery. This is one of my award-winning pieces here. It's an amazing piece of whitework embroidery. It probably has 5,000 stitches in it. But you don't worry about the big picture. You do each stitch, one by one, piece by piece, and it will come together.
Yeah.
Yes, an author does need to know the spectrum of their book. They need to. I believe most authors should know where the plot's going, what the ultimate goal of each character is, and the ultimate goal of the plot. Those things should be paramount because that way you know where you're writing toward. However, don't fret over the big picture of every motion in the book has to cover the big picture. Everybody should be talking about the big picture because then your reader's not going to find that entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you watch the first Star Wars movie and literally every scene was about how we're going to blow up the Death Star, that's not what it was. Every scene progressed piece by piece. How we're going to get off this planet? How are we going to rescue the princess? How are we going to? It became piece by piece until the end. So that's all writing should be that way. Is sit back and don't let yourself worry about the big picture every single time you sit down. Just what happens next. And if what happens next is a rabbit hole, you've written a beautiful scene, but it makes no difference to the rest of the story, and you've just written the scene that doesn't need to be there. Well, you had fun writing it, but probably you need to cut it out.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, it's better to have written it and got writing it as opposed to sit back and go, well, I don't have anything today and walk away. I would tell everybody, go ahead and sit and write your rabbit hole and then come back and realize you didn't need that, but at least you sat down and wrote.
That's true. That is true. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I remember you telling me about that. I've seen that before, and yeah, it's the coolest thing. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah, let's show you
that.
Really close. See how it's little bitty. It's all straight line stitches.
Yeah.
So
I don't have the patience. Nope.
That took me a year.
Nope. Yeah. Nope. No thanks.
That's what I do. I've been stitching since I was 5 years old. I cross stitch. I do all kinds of embroidery. So which is really funny because I'm in a lot of Embroiderers Guild, which is for stitchers, and it's one of the oldest clubs for crafting in America. And I'll come into a new group, and even at my age, you look at me because there's a lot of grandmas that are stitching and like, oh, so are you getting into stitching? I'm like, yeah, I've probably been stitching longer than you. Oh, I've been stitching for the past 10 years since I retired. I'm like, I've been stitching for 30 years. I've been teaching this longer than you've been stitching.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, boy. I don't know. What else?
Can I ask questions about your book?
Yes, absolutely. Please. I love talking about my book. I absolutely love it. Well, our book, I should say. Our book.
That's the writer's guilt, is you want to talk to everybody about your story.
I do. And I catch myself saying too much too. And it's like, oh man, they're not going to want to read it. Well, no, now people want to read it.
No, my questions are okay. First question is this: you said it's a mystery, murder mystery.
Correct.
Is this like a cozy mystery, like Murder She Wrote, or is this hardcore, like Perry Mason? What's the feel of it?
This, oh man, that's a very good question. So it's a murder mystery because somebody dies because someone's after me. So someone close to me dies, and it's just a shock. It's a small town, and now we're trying to figure it out. Someone's after me. Certain things are happening in town, like little things you'll pick up on that are happening in town. It's just like everybody's experiencing something going on, but I'm the one that experiences the murder because don't forget, Sherry and I were supposed to be the main characters of the story, and we could not die. So obviously, I'm not going to die in the story, but they're trying. But now that the challenge is over and this book is going to get released, to Amazon, people don't know about the challenge. So maybe I could possibly die now. There's no more challenge, really, but she's trying to stay within the challenge. But anyways, just certain things are happening, but I'm the main kind of focus. The murder's the main focus for now, until everything kind of boils, which is happening now. So we're getting to the showdown where the killer has returned or is already in town. We don't know because we need to wrap this up. So there's going to be a showdown. Woo-hoo, I can't wait. But there's also romance. So.
Okay, so that was my next question on this is that
it starts in the book.
I say a lot of mystery. The focus of the mystery story, the main character is the detective. Be it the cozy murders, usually the detective is also the town baker or something like that. Whereas like the hard boiled or the detective is a detective, PI or police detective. So.
No, I am not a detective.
Okay.
I thought I was going to be a detective, but I am a very important person in town. I am the mayor. I am the mayor of Stratton. That is the name of our town in Stratton County, which we have just determined technically is in upstate New York somewheres. So we reference, New York and New York City, the city, and stuff like that. So yeah. That's where we are.
Okay, so who's trying to solve this then? Is there a person doing the detective work?
There was.
Are they dead now?
Unfortunately, without giving away too much, we do have the sheriff. We do have a deputy in town. They're hot on the case. Because what happened was somebody tried to kill me. They lit my kitchen on fire while I was sleeping. So the gas was still running, and I guess they lit something in the kitchen, caught on fire, and I almost died. So, and this is in my mansion in town. So So that happens. They interview them, it's my maid, and that was also in the house. So she got interviewed and everything. But unfortunately, I mean, I can at least say that the maid is the one that ends up dead. So that's the person. My maid is now dead. There's a fire. My maid's dead. This is someone's trying to kill me. Who is it? In comes another main character. Of the story a little bit. A romance kind of starts, at least in the first book. We don't go into great detail of the whole thing and, whatever. But yeah.
Maybe I should write up a noir story for you. So I like also cheesy noir can be fun too.
It can. You have to keep in mind that she has, like you have, put my personality in the character. So people reading it, obviously it's Mayor Brian Shepard, so people are going to know, oh yeah, that's Brian. But when you read my character and or my lines, as I say, it's me. I would say these things. I've had to scale back just a little bit because I'd like to keep the book PG, and I have to keep in my mind and hers that my grandmother has potentially could read this book. And so even though my character, there's a same-sex romance that happens, it's not, people don't really need to worry about anything terrible happening or being written. So it's not that kind of book. So PG, folks. PG.
Yeah, see, my favorite kind of my favorite kind of mysteries are always cozy. I like cozy mysteries.
Yeah.
So that's why I was kind of curious which direction you were going to take it.
Well, technically it was supposed to be a murder mystery to try to find out, well, who killed this person, and then on top of that, someone's after me, and so there's like two things kind of going on, and then it's connected. Is it not connected? Who is it? Who is it not? And then she kind of was trying to throw in other things. Like I said, other things are happening. So one of the houses that the new family just moved into, the Bensons just moved in to town. The kids are claiming that it's haunted. So she's throwing, because now she knows that there's going to be the possibility of maybe book 2 or whatever. We could do something else down the road. We've opened something, but it's not going to be a murder mystery paranormal thing combined. I don't think. I don't know, but there's a lot. She's very creative, and I give her so much credit. I give authors a lot of credit. So yeah. Now that I've done it, at least just one chapter, but I'm still proud of myself.
Hey, a lot of people have never done that. So
yeah,
many who have never done that.
Yeah.
No, you need private. You need my very first character I ever created. The first book, and I use that term loosely, that I wrote was in the 4th grade, and it was called Private Eye Peyton. And it was because I grew up on mysteries. My mother loved them. I watched them on TV constantly. So I wrote a mystery story, silly little one. And somehow in my 4th grade brain, it turned into a noir.
Yeah.
And so that my Private Eye Peyton was created. And I, of course, never wrote more than that 4th grade until this past year in our Heroes Rising game. I wrote a sub-story that's in the game you get to play where your hero suddenly ends up in Neo-Utopia, a town from 1930. And it's being taken over by a mob boss. And Private Eye Peyton is there to help you. But he is the most worthless detective in the world because he's comical. The whole thing is tongue-in-cheek. The character is comical. He's the worst. But that's also because I want the player, aka the hero who's in the story, to be the one to solve the crime, not the NPC player like my character. So I had to make him kind of inept. But you need Private Eye Peyton to show up to be a detective in this story.
Is Private Eye Peyton? Is he like a Mr. Bean?
No, he's
okay.
not Mr. Bean. He fancies himself the world's greatest detective, but he really isn't. He's
He's
just
always a step behind in solving something.
yeah,
Somewhere.
and he's also he's the type of person he's noir, he wants to be. So like he'll sit there and start narrating himself around other people and narrate what's going on, and they'll have to stop him and go, Peyton, stop this! You're not supposed to be doing that. You know, he's more interested in the ambiance than he is solving the crime. And yes, I wrote Jim Sadler's character's backstory for Heroes Rising, which is Fleagle's story. It wasn't mystery.
Oh.
Just different.
That's right, because you're still writing for Heroes Rising, which is a multi. Is it can I say multiplayer? Is it multiplayer?
It's
It's an online game that you can play through Facebook, right? Yes, Heroes Rising. So, how would you describe Heroes Rising?
Heroes Rising is a build your own character RPG. You create your character, name your character, give them bio, and look, and then you play the game. And in the game, you buy powers to give them, you give them equipment, and then you play story. And when it started, it was a click-based playing game where you're playing a story just by click it and it happens. Whereas now we've moved on to is what we call patrols, where you actually kind of make choices on the path the story goes. It takes time to do each chapter. There's more story involved, which of course I wrote. So we're continuing with that. Plus, there's like you join up with leagues, you play other players, but it's very simple but enjoyable. Build your own character RPG and based in a superhero setting.
Okay. What's he saying? PvP Heroes Battler?
Yeah, player versus player hero battler. A big portion of the game is players take their character they've built with all the stuff they've added to it, and they battle other players' characters, and you get experience and you get rewards for doing that. And your leagues will battle other leagues during what's called league wars and things like that. So a big portion of the game is real me versus you, not just me versus the story.
Right. Yep.
So.
Oh yeah.
I know. Right now, the game is celebrating its holiday, its second Frustuary, which is a holiday I created. And the whole point of Frustuary is throwing snowballs at people.
Oh.
That's how you celebrate.
In the game?
In the game.
In the game.
You actually get a weapon in the game you can add to your hero, and when you're battling other heroes, suddenly you'll throw a snowball. And the more snowballs thrown, you get tallied up, and people win by being the most. And it's fun. This portion is just silliness because it's not really serious battling an enemy. This is just a holiday for the game.
Interesting.
So happy Frustuary, everybody! Go throw snow at somebody.
Yay! Yeah, and speaking of snow and weather, all this stuff. I mean, if people haven't noticed, I did this beautiful, serene. It's probably some resort somewheres. Thank you, Google, for the picture. But we have a snowstorm coming Sunday through Monday. I don't want to talk about snow. I don't want to think about it and just the cold weather and everything else. So that's why I put this nice background up there. So it's been cold where you are, right?
Yeah, we were down hovering around 7 degrees for most of this past week, and the last couple of days has warmed up because for people who don't really see the pattern meteorologically, when you have a cold front moving in, it will actually push a pocket of warm air in front of it. So temperatures will go up and then crash. And so we had the cold 7. All of a sudden, it's like 35 degrees during the day. Wow. And I know suddenly we're going to hit that wall and it's going to get cold and snowy again. But we've been under about 6 inches of snow for the past couple weeks, only last couple of days because of the warmer conditions that start to go away. For me, growing up without snow around, because I grew up in Oklahoma and Tennessee, which snow is not that common at all. I've experienced a few things here I've never in my entire life. And one of them this year I noticed was we had all that snow sitting there for a good couple weeks. And then it started to look like it was melting. Patches of grass were popping through. It was getting lower, but you didn't see any water on the ground. And then I finally said to somebody, it's like, what's going on? He said, oh, yeah, the dew point is so bad and it's so dry, the snow is just straight evaporating. I've never seen that in my life. And I was like, wow, the snow is literally just evaporating off the ground, going from solid to gas immediately. That's
yeah.
Wow. So, but now there's 30 plus degrees outside that's beginning to actually melt, but that won't last long. We're getting back to cold soon.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen here. So I'm looking at, it's supposed to start Sunday after midnight, I think. 5 to 8 inches of snow. So straight through the morning, I have to be to work for 12. We're supposed to get another 3 to 5 in the afternoon on Monday. And then it's supposed to stop and I get out of work at a little after 8:30. So hopefully by 8:30, it'll be done. It'll be over with. We'll see. I bought a new car, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I should be okay. We'll see. But yeah, thanks for the background, Jim. Yes, I do have a tune. If that's what you guys call them.
That's what they call their heroes in the game. We'll call them tunes.
Okay, because that's what they call them in. Because I play Star Trek Online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they call them tunes. I've seen other people.
Yeah.
Say the word tune. So.
That's not original to our game. No.
Yeah. So I knew what that meant. Yeah. I do. I forget to play. I really haven't played Facebook games in quite a while. As a matter of fact, sometimes I just don't have the time. I wish I did, but I don't. But yeah, I do have my tune. It's still there. I didn't get rid of the game or anything. So yeah, I enjoyed playing it when I first started. So it's pretty cool. But I will have to get back in there. Ashley, I didn't know we were getting snow. Yes, we're getting snow. It's called Watch the Weather Channel. Hello. Then you'll know. How about that, right? And the other thing I've noticed is that my grandmother has not been on at all. I don't see her anywhere. Is she still here? What's happening? Nope, I don't see her at all. My other sister, Kayla, I don't even know if she's still with us. Hello. I forgot to say hello.
Yeah, Canada's cold, but that's just Canada.
-7. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So that's like -30 Celsius. And I called at 4 Celsius.
Yeah, which 4 Celsius is above what we would call 32. Because that's
32.
0 in Celsius is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So
okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cold. I'm used to winters that are, cold at 40 degrees, bitter cold at 39, and then I move up here and they laugh at me because 45 degrees is summer. So,
yeah, yeah, it's different. So, being.
As I probably mentioned this before, but do you happen to know where the coldest place on Earth is?
The coldest place on Earth?
Mm-hmm. Take a guess.
The coldest place on Earth is...
I'll clarify this. The place that's reached the coldest temperature.
Oh, the place that has reached the coldest temperature.
And does it on a regular basis, but, not like consistently every day. Jim says Siberia.
I'm going to say it's a desert, though.
Nope. It is in the Upper Peninsula, Michigan.
Really? Well, that doesn't surprise me.
See, the thing is I learned this actually before I moved up here, is that Michigan has the mitten, and then it has the Upper Peninsula.
Yeah.
And in the UP, they have two big bodies of water right next to it, the two big Great Lakes next to it. And so when it gets that cold Arctic wind across the bodies of water, water chills things down. And because of the certain way the wind patterns work, there's a place in the Upper Peninsula that every year usually gets below it, the lowest temperature ever recorded in like Antarctica. So I was like, up there, I have friends who went to school up there, and I'm like, y'all are nuts because it's cold, it's bitter up there. But now down in Antarctica, they actually have deserts. You know, they're in the middle of what we would consider Antarctica. It's not snow; it's actually completely devoid of snow. They're rock and sand deserts that are nothing but hard, cold winds all the time.
Yeah.
So they do get it bad there. I'm just saying that when I found that out, I was like, 'cause I come from all these warm temperatures. I didn't want to move up to where it was cold. I'm like, and someone says, "Oh yeah, it gets coldest here," and I'm like, "Yay!"
Yeah. Yeah. I'm used to it, so it is what it is. I get the 4 seasons, so.
Oh yeah, I have friends here though that will tell me that Michigan has terrible seasons. They have a hard winter. I don't disagree. They have a spring and they have a pretty fall, and then they have really hot summers. Their summers average 85. I'm like, I threw newspapers at 110. And it was like that all through the summer. So, yeah. Yeah, no, the UK. No, I understand. The UK has a unique position in the ocean and off the coast, off of Europe there, where the wind patterns and the water patterns near them, my brain just lost the word for it. The water patterns around there causes the temperatures there to be very different than the coast, than on land. And that's one of the reasons why London is so foggy all the time, why they have much denser, more moist air throughout the year. Yeah, I knew about that. I had friends who lived there. I grew up with people who came from there, and they would tell me all about that. Its climate is very unique, actually, because of how all the things work together for them. And that's like Michigan. We're the only place on Earth that's a peninsula our size with this much large bodies of water all around us, this fresh water. So we get very unusual. We can get inches upon inches of lake effect snow on completely cloudless, clear blue sky day.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be snowing. You'll look up and see it just snowing in the air. And it's this glassy, thin snow, and it's literally a cold wind blowing across the top of the water and freezing it and blowing it into the air, and then that piles on top of us. And we're like, oh, thanks. We now have a snowstorm without an actual storm. I see Barbara is here.
My grandmother's here. Late. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. But welcome. Hello to my grandmother, who is in South Carolina. So
I'm sure she's enjoying a very hard, cold, bitter winter.
My sister lives in North Carolina. She was telling me that what was it, 70 or something?
Oh, boo.
I told her to stick it where the sun don't shine. So
she'll have to leave the state to do that.
Yeah, unfortunately, but yeah. I mean, yeah, we all want to stay nice and warm, and we like the sun, and we don't like the snow and driving in it and whatever. But you know what? It is what it is, and you move there, so deal with it.
Yeah,
just move.
I know. So I do have one announcement that I'm currently working on before we get started and we get over tonight. Okay. Is that for the Dragon Wand, the books numbers 5, 6, and 7 are currently in production. 5 is out now, 6 and 7 to finish the series. But as I thought to have some fun and do something for the readers, I want to release a hardback edition of the first 3 books as one book. So it'll be a combined hardback edition of books 1, 2, and 3 together. and I'm in the process right now of working on that, but I want to do that as something special for people, and eventually I will do it for the last three. It'll be a combined edition as well, so it'll be all three books in one. But that's my next big a big event, and I mean not my next big one, but that's one I'm planning hopefully this year at some point. I'd like to have it ready for Christmas this coming year. It's going to be Christmas, so that we can put it out there as a special thing for people to pick up.
That would be nice. I like that. Yeah.
And I'm also working on special cover art for it, and I am not going to show anybody announce that until we get some finalized stuff. But I want to do the art for this one because it's the special edition.
Well, you already have Jim that wants it.
I thought about, and here's the thing I'll throw out there for anybody. If you watch this afterwards and you will have any thoughts on it, Brandon Sanderson did this. He put out a special edition for the Stormlight books he did. And it was leather bound, had artwork inside of it from some famous artists. But to pay for all that, he did a Kickstarter. I thought for this one, I'd like to get at least a couple pictures done that can be put inside the book. And I'd like them done by some friends of mine who are very well-known artists, but it's going to cost. And I don't have that kind of money because they're good, but they're expensive because they're good.
Right.
So I'm thinking about running a Kickstarter. And I'd love to see if people would be interested, what people think of me doing that. I have to get it by my publisher, talk to them. So that's definitely totally just in the moment for me. But if they say yes, let's go for it. I'd love to launch it, but I'd like to see if people are, what your thoughts are on that. Yes, and I will definitely. I want to get the inside cover to be the Galanor map that I created because that's a beautiful map, and I want people to see it. I want it in color, and I want it to be on the inside of the hardcover and the first page. So when you open it, it's right there, and it fills it all. I want this to be a nice production. I want it to be a beautiful production of a book.
Very nice. Yeah. I know I would want it.
Thank you, Ashley. I love doing my artwork. I have to say this, my family kind of doesn't understand it, that they get the benefit of telling me, we'd like some new art for the house, and I do a new painting for them. I mean, that's a lot of work. And if I were to hire that out, what I do for them, I could charge a pretty penny for somebody else.
It's funny because she's texting me now. She's an artist herself, but she still wants to find somebody to do the cover art for the book unless I can find something. So, I mean, trust me, I know lots of people. So, a lot of authors. Yeah, so I'm thinking about it. So if you know anyone, please let me know.
I know a lot of people. I will say this though, before you get to that point, write the book.
Well, the cover is, we already had a cover. I already had a cover. So we already chose. It was something very, very simple. We didn't need anything extravagant or anything like that. So, but I wanted to kind of grow on that just a little bit. So I wanted someone who actually does that as a career or whatever, kind of advice on that before we finalized anything, I think. So,
yeah, I could give you definitely some pointers on a cover if you want to show me what you have. But if you want to cover artists, I've done a few books, but for what you're talking about, probably not my strain of what I normally do. But I know people. But yeah, cover art. That's another piece of advice for authors that don't get hung up on the post production part of it, which is cover art, formatting, that kind of stuff. Because if you don't have the book written, that'll clog your thinking. Just work on finishing the book and let the cover and stuff sit and wait. Publishers have the joy of being able to do that because they have a department over there that's just doing the cover, and the department over here who's just doing formatting.
Yep.
That's a different story. If you're doing it all yourself, you're self-publishing or freelancing or anything like that, you don't have the brain power. You don't need to spend your creativity in the moment on something that's not creating a good book.
That is true. That is more good advice. See, I knew that I was friends with authors for a reason.
Yep. Okay, Jim says, I'm in. Yeah, I know. If I put out a book, Jim's gonna get it. I wanted all your books in hardback, but you get it. You had softbacks to sell. Oh yeah. Well, and right now in the market, a lot of publishers, big time publishers, will only do softback books. Hardbacks are not as common anymore because they're costly and they're hard to convince a public that now looks at ebooks that are so cheap, and then the print books that are paperback that are 5 times as expensive as the ebook because you got to pay for production. Oh, I'm going to give you a hardback, which is way more than the paperback. Unfortunately, that's gone down in the market. People don't really want the hardback as much. Now it's coming back into vogue, but it's more on the special edition things. Now, they do put out hardbacks, of course, that are brand new for new books and all that. But a lot of times nowadays, they're mostly softbacks, and the hardbacks come out again as special edition and special cover art, stuff like that. That's why I'm doing a whole new cover for this one. I'm not just going to grab like one of the other covers and just relabel it the saga, or the whole book. I want something new so that when you pick up this hardback, it feels like something special. I want people to pick up this one, look at it, and go, "This one is different than the others. Just in the cover alone makes it special."
There you go. There you go. Jim Sadler, the cover will find itself. It's true.
Jim, you are absolutely right. That's something that authors do mistake, because they think that the cover has to come early. Then you need to know what's on that cover. No, you don't, because you don't know what the story is going to tell. You don't know how the end and the whole thing is going to look, so that the cover will be different. It's also the title. I mean, I have working titles for all of my books. I'll sit down because I name the file of the book I'm writing that title. Does it always end with that title being the one? No. You don't need to set in stone your title or your cover art before you're done, because if you are dedicated to that, but then your book doesn't really reflect it, you've kind of poisoned your own well.
Yeah.
And you want something that markets well. That cover art, title, those are marketing. Every publisher out there has a marketing department that will help you build your cover, and that's the point. They are a marketing department. They're actually not an art department. They hire the artists, but that department looks at the artists and go, okay, this is what's selling right now. This is what people want to see. This is what will sell the book. Now make it happen. All the good feels of, but I want this on the cover and that. So I go on for hours, because cover art is an issue that I have talked to authors about at length, and it's a problem because a lot of new authors make the exact same mistake. There's one glaring mistake that new authors always make with the cover, and I can pick out a new author at a convention in a heartbeat just by the cover. I will know this is your first book. Oh, how'd you know that? Because the cover is trash. And I mean, I've offended people, and the thing is, it's not because it's bad art, and that happens. It's not because it's crayon pictures by their grandchild. I've seen that. It's not that. It's the fact that the first thing that people do when they write their book is they make a cover that contains every major plot point element in there. Oh, it had dragons, so it's a dragon here, and it had a wizards in here, but it had also ice fairies. Oh, it's ice fairies. Oh, look, it also came up with the steamships. It was over here. Oh, they were in mountains, so it's there's desert. It was here, and suddenly you got all this stuff all over the cover, and you can't even see the title. That happens so often. And I walk up to a booth and I'll see someone has one book out there and their cover is just this fruit salad of everything under the sun. I'm like, this is your first book, isn't it? How'd you know? I'm like, because this cover is awful. And I mean, I'll be blunt with them, but then I will sit there and say, okay, this is why, and this is how you can fix it. I won't just walk away and go, you're garbage, and just walk away. I will help them see the issue that's going to confront them. It's going to confront them.
Jim Sadler by the way, everyone, is a collector of Daniel's books. I think he has every single one. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he does actually by now.
I've mailed books to him myself because Daniel had to sign the book, and then the books were then mailed to me uh, by you, right? I believe it was.
So you could sign
And
them.
then and then I had to sign them, and then I sent them off to good old England.
Oxford, England.
Yes, Oxford, England. So yeah, but don't worry, Jim. When my friend and my book come out, I'll make sure to send you a copy. So yes, but that's the show. We just wanted to come back and say hello. This is show number 1. There's going to be guests. They're coming. I kind of wanted to gear the show towards authors, because it seems as if though that's all anybody I can get on the show, except for the other guests that you have brought on, which I don't mind having on. But I think I'm enjoying the whole author thing. We've learned a lot from different authors that have come onto the show by what they rate and everything else. So I think that's what I'd like to do. So yeah, along with a mix of, a non-author guest here and there. So I welcome anyone, obviously, to the show, but I'd like to talk with more authors, I think. So yeah.
Artists. That's why I'm kind of telling people a lot when they ask who do we
Artists?
on the show. It's kind of artists, authors.
Yeah.
I think artist covers everything from music to painting to writing. Primarily authors, but I was like, I'm talking with some people who aren't book writers. They've written books, but they're more artists. One's a very well-known comic book artist. Another person is a well-known voiceover artist. So, yeah, I'm talking to people. I've got some guests in line too. Hopefully, we can put together a nice list for you guys to.
Absolutely, I like that. Artists, I like that much better. Yeah, I like that.
Sorry, Jim said he's missing my book Remnant. I did not know you didn't have a copy of that.
Oh my!
So you will have to. That will be my next one. I have to send to you, Jim.
Yeah. The other thing is, I'd like to mention. I'd like to do. We had a website. I didn't like it, so I'm probably going to have to change it around or whatnot. So I want to be able to make sure everyone is able to get to your books either through our website, through Facebook, or wherever. And of course, we're going to add to that as each guest, if they're an author, comes on, we can add their book and the link to our website and stuff. I'd like to add video. The other thing is I might turn this back into a app, so our video, our show here, will be also available audio as an app to download again, so you can listen to us on the go whenever. So I like that idea as well. But there's so much stuff, so many things. I have to finish my book first. That's what I need to do. And start working on the next one. So, all right. So that's it. So hopefully everyone had a happy new year. It's 2022. We've just begun. A lot more good stuff is coming. So this year, yeah.
Yep. I hope to have a lot of new material out for those who are following Heroes Rising. I've got a lot of story coming up. The continuation of the main story arc is on its way, and I have a very special short story coming up after the Frostuary event is over that I think you're all going to really enjoy. So I'm looking forward to that. Let me tell you something. Writing for this online game has definitely pushed me to write a lot more in my life, because I'm writing my books, editing my books, and then writing 3 or 4 stories at the same time for this game, plus patrols, plus little things, plus all this stuff. So I'm just constantly pounding away at words.
Yeah, it can be a little crazy, to say the least. So, all right, everyone, that's it. So we will check back in with you next week, next Thursday, same time, 8:00. and go from there. That's it, right? Yeah. Everyone have a fantastic weekend, and if you have some nasty weather coming your way, stay safe. Yeah.
Always
My grandma. Oops. My grandmother's saying, "Sorry, I was late. Good night, everyone." That's all right. At least you popped on.
My
We'll
best
see
piece
you
of
next
advice
week.
I'll give you after what happened a few weeks back with the Snowmageddon, where everybody got stuck in the snow on the road, is always make sure you have at least half a tank of gas in your car. Always make sure you have gas in your car when you have this kind of cold weather, because you do not want to be stuck out in the snow and have to do anything, trying to get out of your car. They had people who unfortunately died because they got out to walk somewhere in very cold conditions and they weren't found in time because of all the snow. So always keep gas in your car. I've learned that being up here.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. And it's good because I actually do that. I have a blanket. I have two blankets, two fleece blankets, two beach towels. I have two umbrellas. I have an emergency kit in my car. So I'm prepared. I don't like my gas tank to go under a half a tank. I don't like it. Call me bougie, call me whatever. I don't care. Gas is expensive right now, and I can't afford to keep filling it all. I used to go as far as I could to that 50 miles left, but yeah. So, but if you're stuck out in the snow, anyone in my area, and you see me, my car does hold up to 7 people. So come on in. Yeah.
We're all family when it comes to emergencies. All right, people.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Oh, and someone is saying cat litter and snacks and water. Don't forget to have that as well. Get to a half a tank and I have to fill it up. Yep, that's true. That is true. All right. Well, thanks again, everyone, for being part of the show, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. See you next week.
Bye.